Story. It is National Burn Awareness Week for flammable liquids, and local firefighters have some preventative measures to ensure that you and your home are safe.
WGEM's Rose Laner talked with those firefighters today. So Rose, how can we stay safe with flammable fluids in our homes?
Daniel and Raja, firefighters say flammable liquids such as gasoline and lighter fluid should be stored away safely in a container or cabinet that controls the vapors. According to the National Fire Protection Association, someone in the U.S. gets a serious burn requiring medical treatment every 60 seconds. Firefighters say the vapors from flammable liquids are dangerous if they're left out in the open. They say the safest option is to store the gasoline in a UL-listed container outside the home.
A proper container to put that in to where it controls the vapors of it, and that can either be the can itself with an approved UL listed storage container, or putting it in a cabinet that contains the vapors in that.
Firefighters say the gasoline container should be kept in a secure location and in a well-ventilated area. They say you shouldn't store them in garages since the vapors could catch something on fire. Daniel.
All right, thanks, Rose. And firefighters say some flammable liquids have a higher flash point, so you should use them with caution to avoid any injuries.